The Mayo Experience.
Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, Week 8 spread picks, game previews, injuries, and a whole lot more of nonsense. Before we get started, I want to let everyone know to smash the like button, and if you do that, you could potentially be in a draw for $20 DK dollars. All you have to do after giving the show a like is leave your DK handle in the comment section along with what you think Tim Undercust should dress as for Halloween. The best costume for Tim, the winner will be announced on Monday's live show at 10 a.m. Eastern Time on Monday morning. I'm also live with Tim and Gary on Sunday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern Time on the Draftkings YouTube channel. Plus, you can download all this stuff wherever you can download podcasts well after the fact. Geoff's here. Another good week for Geoff.
Yeah, the NFL's actually been pretty good to me. I haven't had like that disaster week. Every week's been plus.
Yeah, have you been above 500 every week?
Maybe there was like a game under week 1, but in terms of like my accounts, like I haven't had that like Sunday night, like what happened today. Like it's been good. It's been very good. I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but I'm quite proud of that ATS record.
We're about halfway through the season. We're like 46% of the way through, but I do want to let people know that odds and lines are subject to change. See website for actual odds if you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help. Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Let's get to the other members of the show. Next up, we have the coin. It is this $1 Canadian coin, which is currently in second place in the picks.
It's a loonie.
It's a loonie, yes. But if you just say loonie, people don't know what that is, unless they're Canadian. So you have to describe it. It's a $1 Canadian coin. For all they know, it's a Sacagawea dollar.
Well,
which they spit out at like when you take the train from like Jersey into Penn Station. If you pay with too much cash, they spit you out Sacagawea dollars, and then no one will take them as real currency. It's ridiculous. Anyway, that's the third member of the show. The fourth member of the show, his name, Tim Undercust.
Tim Undercust.
Not my name.
You're doing pretty well with the picks.
I had a bad week. Although I hit my SUPERLOCK, everything else went pear-shaped on me.
Yeah, so if you want to go game by game, hit the description. If you want to find the picks cheat sheet with all this stuff, that fly I was talking about is now in your head.
What the hell?
There's just a fly coming around. It was triggering Gary yesterday.
Well,
it's the pet of the office now. You hit the description, you can find all the rankings, all the shows, the picks cheat sheet, or you can just go to my Facebook page, facebook.com/thepme, and find it all yourself. Last week, Tim, you were 5-8-1, tied with the coin. I was 6-7-1 after going loss to end the week. That was no fun. Geoff was 8-5-1. So overall, since we've made our bet, I have closed the gap to 9 games from 13 games with you. I'm 43, 56, and 8. Tim, you are 52, 47, and 8. The coin is 55, 44, and 8. Geoff now in the lead by himself.
Yes.
58, 41, and 8. We all hit our SUPERLOCKs last week. I still lead the SUPERLOCKs at 4, 2, and 1. You guys are both 4 and 3. Tim, your free money parlay and teaser, or whatever you decide to give that week, has dropped to 0 and 7. Geoff gives out 1, 1 and 0.
I also thought you were making... I got too excited that you were going to make more ground on Tim last week.
Last week was a week he needed to make up some ground on me. He just couldn't do it. Took a game.
No,
I'm not going to have very many 5 and 8s. And for that opportunity for you to basically let it pass by,
listen,
you're going to regret.
Do you hear the terror in his voice that he's going to blow a 13-point spread pick lead after 6 weeks? It's going to be it's going to be very comical because this is the best chance you've ever had to beat me in the almost decade we've been doing this, and you're going to blow it. You should not have declared it was over, sir.
I still feel really good about it.
Do you still?
I mean,
you've already declared it's over. Are you going to retract the fact that you think it's over?
No, of course not. If it weren't, I mean, listen, the fact you made up 1 game on me when I went 5 and 8 tells you all you need to know.
Yeah, but I've already made up 4 in 2 weeks.
That's fine.
At this pace, I'm going to be up on you pretty soon.
Well, I wish you the best of luck.
But you've already declared it over. So don't try to be Ander cursing me, all right?
I just hope Geoff keeps trucking along.
Yeah,
I've got like a 4-win week like coming though.
And I
That's
had
like my
I
doom.
assume you have an extra heartbeat left this week after your heart skipped one when the Titans went for 2. So you're sort of living well.
my plantar fasciitis that existed that I got the first time from the Sunday at Chambers Bay was flared up this Sunday morning watching that game.
Yeah, it was a pretty terrible game.
Too much I don't want to waste any time on it.
We're not recapping the game. I do want to talk about 2-pointers though, because I've been saving this all week to talk to you two about it instead of like getting Jake's take. It's really Tim's take I'm curious about. So Tim,
Well,
just because Tim's gonna have some sort of insane take, like they should cancel football if someone goes for 2 or something.
Tim will probably be more articulate or crazy. I'm not sure. For me, I'm not gonna lie. The moment that Shermer went for, like, I was pretty baffled, but easily, I didn't go to Twitter to be like, this is wrong or crazy. I sort of digested it and then saw the first proper math take and was like, holy shit, that makes
sense.
So much sense. The Vrabel one, they really had control of the game. And I thought that was really not feeling the moment. Analytics and the moment sort of, you got to just feel what the game is happening. And the Chargers were stuck in a Tennessee Titan game, like game flow.
Yeah.
And the second half was all Titans. And I thought they should have taken the one. And if you listen to the game call, Bruce Arians, Tim's boy, almost fell out of his chair with some of the.
That's not good. That man weighs like 700 pounds. He probably caused an earthquake.
Well, he said if they don't run here, I'm going to fall out of my chair.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, that's my take. But props with the help of the math guys understanding how genius Shermer was.
Well, I mean, there's the other side to this too that no one's factoring in, because like, oh, it's 50-50 that you go for it. And the math, when you start doing it by 50-50, makes a lot of sense. You do go for it. But there's also the other part that, and whether you think a coach is smart or not, he's a head coach in the NFL, that he sort of has a sense of how the game is going for his team, whether they think they have the proper play. When you're 1 yard out and you're not on your own 30 and have the whole field to work with, does your offense really work well in condensed areas? That's the part of this that is unknowable, really. So I'm on good team going for it. I was out on Monday night. I watched the game in the morning, but I saw Twitter blowing up and it was ludicrous. Like, if the math people want people to be on their sides, it's very clear they're math people because they have no real public skills, that they just come off as you end up hating them so much, you just want to disagree with everything they say.
Like Sheldon Cooper or something.
A little bit, yeah. Like, there's a way to articulate this, to explain your point and not come off like the world's biggest douchebag. And then
a little less condescension would be nice.
Exactly. Yeah, and if people have a question about it, it's something new that a lot of people aren't exposed to. Like, we get it, but we talk about football all the time. We see this stuff all the time. Other people may not see it. So to not explain your point and just be very dismissive of anyone who has a question about it, it's not doing you any favors. It just makes you look like a prick.
Yeah, but I mean, Twitter.com does that to a lot of people. I mean, it's not a good vehicle for anything.
No, I understand that, but there are some major people that are really trying to get their point across.
Oh, yeah,
this.
No, and
it just makes them come off, despite the fact that they're right, it makes them come off looking like idiots.
Yep, that's right. You look obnoxious. You look condescending when you treat people that way. I'm with you. So on my view, when it comes to the 2-point convert, particularly to end a game, if you are the better team, kick the extra point, take it to OT, the odds in your favor. If you're the worst team, like you are the Titans, you go for the deuce, because your best chance to win the football game is right there. And then particularly in their spot where the penalty had been taken, anytime the ball's on the 1 yard line, you should definitely run the ball. You don't have to get in jumbo. You can spread out 3 wide, 4 wide, and then run if you want that way. I think that's probably better. But Mariota should not have thrown the ball there. I loved the decision to gamble. That's perfectly fine. The Titans are the worst team. They should lose that game. Go for it. I despise the idea of trying to throw the ball down there. That's my view. I mean, I get why you should go for 2, but if you are the better team, like if it's the Patriots, take a note. If you're the Patriots,
no.
Or the Chiefs,
I almost disagree with that, though. I think I get the logic behind you're the worst team, go for the win right now. I think you just kind of go for it anyway, especially if you are the best team and the best part of your team is your offense. Like, if you are the Patriots, why gamble that you don't get the ball in overtime because your defense sucks? You can get 2 yards. You're a great offense.
Yeah, but it's not just 2 yards. It is 2 yards on a very condensed field. It's not like getting 2 yards at the 50-yard line.
I understand that, but if you are an elite offense, if you're a top 10 offense, you should still be able to get the 2 yards.
Yeah, but I should be able to, with alacrity, be able to go get my field goal and over. Like, I get
Yeah,
what you're
I mean,
saying.
you might not get a chance to get the field goal in overtime.
I don't have
thing.
a super strong take on. I get that point, and if the Patriots they wanted to gamble, I get it. But were I a head coach, if I had a dominating team, I'd kick it, and if I was this underdog, I would gamble.
I'm not gonna.
And when you do that and you hit, it can be a big deal. Like, remember 2 years ago, the Raiders basically went on a tear through the NFL because on opening day, Del Rio gambled against the Saints and won. Like, it can show a ton of confidence in your team. Had the Titans won that game, Vrabel, I think, would have injected some real confidence into that squad. Now, I don't think the reverse is true. I don't think the team will be down on itself for losing, but the upside for what could have happened to hit on that play is great. Now, at the same time, the Titans didn't have to win the game on that play because you still had a timeout and you still had time for the Chargers to go ahead and win. I mean, Anthony Lynn should almost have been relieved of his duties the way he mismanaged the clock at the end of that game.
Yeah, why wasn't he calling timeouts?
He didn't know what he was doing.
He just let the clock run out.
He let the clock run. He didn't know what he was doing. It was malpractice, similar to what Belichick did in the Super Bowl against the Seahawks when he was just letting the clock expire and got bailed out because the other team did something boneheaded at the goal line. So either which way, that's my view on the two-pointer.
That is a pretty non-insane take from Tim. I was hoping just like, how dare you go for two? The forward pass shouldn't be in football. Like one of those sorts of Tim takes. That's not what we got. Very disappointed about that.
There is...
And also, when I say like the condescension when it comes to this 2-point stuff, I'm very aware that I'm the most condescending person in the world. It's also a part of this show. I'm not really like that in real life. And
you're not the most condescending person on Twitter.
No, on Twitter I'm actually not. I'm just talking about like when I talk to you on the show, I'm incredibly condescending. That's a part of the show.
I don't
but it's also a part of the show.
I also...
Yes, of course it is.
I'm not trying to pass myself off as like some math whiz and be like, you better believe me, or like, you're a fucking moron. Just like...
No. There are enough people on Twitter who can do that.
The brakes just a little bit.
The Shermer thing was also easier for me to digest. I guess the smart math people created like flowcharts.
Yeah, which was very helpful.
Yeah,
actually.
no, that was like, okay, this makes total sense now. Even in the moment, it had me questioning my, grade 9 math.
I thought it was strange that the broadcast booth stuck with it for so long that like now there's like 8 flies everywhere. That we got a fly problem. We gotta get some raid in here. Either way, that like no one got in their ear being like, hey, you might want to like pump the brakes on this 2-point thing. Here's the other side of it. Just no one in the production team put that in their ear, or they just decided to ignore it. It was really strange. All right, let's talk about the games. Thursday night, we'll make it quick.
Ugh.
Miami at Houston, -7.5 for Houston at home. 44 is the game total. Bruised lung for Deshaun Watson. Kiki Cutie is not playing. On the Dolphin side, Brock is starting. There's no Albert Wilson. There is no Kenny Stills. They still have Frank Gore, who's ancient. And this is a revenge game. Not so much Brock against the Texans. The Texans' defense on Brock for ruining them, stealing all their money. I mean, if it was -11, I'd probably take Houston still. Like, they're going to try to kill Brock Osweiler in this game.
We've seen also a lot of weeks, the better team on Thursday, the games that get ugly. I guess the team with maybe more top to bottom talent. Give me Houston. I think they win this thing. My biggest concern is the injuries at receiver and the fact that the guys coming in, I don't know how many reps Brock has even had with these guys.
He's had enough. He's looked very competent through 2 weeks.
But here's the thing. The Dolphins, like, Brock looks good, and they, like, we've seen his ceiling, I think.
Yeah.
Over these last couple
It's the best
games
he's going to play.
Also. Give me Houston. I think, double-digit win.
The coin likes Miami, Tim. Do you like Miami?
No. I like the Texans -7.5. I don't mind teasing the Texans to the under in this game either. I think it's like a 23-7 type of game. Like, I don't think it's particularly close. I don't think it's a good game. I think the Texans win comfortably.
Is Joe
Buck going to call this game?
Thursday is no football, is no baseball.
I know, but is he really going to jump from the World Series to this and then back to the World Series again? That would be crazy. He did it with the NLCS.
Who would be next up for Fox for play-by-play for a marquee game?
Probably the
Kenny
guy
Albert?
who does.
I don't know.
No, who's the guy who does their games, their second tier games? The guy who used to call the games at Lynch. Sugar. I can't remember now.
Sugar. Oh, by the way, we're going to have, Tim has some Halloween type lists coming up a little bit later on. So we'll have fun with that. Not candy, though, because he's not revising his candy list. Raisin's still a top 3 Halloween candy, according to Tim. So round to Houston, Miami for the coin. Is Houston on your free money teaser this week?
No, it's not.
Okay.
I don't like to put Thursday games on it.
Let's go to London. Philly.
Last time.
This is the last time this year in London?
Thank God, yes. There's a Mexico game, but this is the last London game. Thank
That's
God.
too bad. I like being up and seeing like we were watching the game while we were doing the show last Sunday morning. It was fantastic. +3 is the spread because technically Jacksonville is the home team in this game. Philly at Jacksonville, neutral site. Philly's a 3-point favorite. 42 is the over-under in this game. Blake Bortles not benched for this one. You got to unleash Blake when it comes to London. And Philly hasn't been very good. I think what's going to happen here is Jacksonville blows the doors off the Eagles. They easily cover the 3 points. They win this game, maybe by 10, maybe by 14. Philly goes into the bye week, reassesses what they got going, give Wentz a little bit of a break. You get the offensive line a little bit healthier. You see what happens at running back. You just get back on where you need to be. It's just they really need this bye week, and they're not, even if Washington wins again, they're not out of this division by any means.
How much would the Philly fans be clamoring for Foles at that point, do you think? They won a Super Bowl with Foles. Now Wentz, I think it's crazy, but you can imagine the Philly Sports Talk Radio with the knives out if they lose this game and wanting Foles back.
I mean, I feel like you would need a brain injury to think something like that, but sure, why not?
They would say, hey, we won the Super Bowl with that guy.
I guess, maybe the guy who was eating the feces off the floor might call in and
I want Foles!
I don't have your type of confidence, but
I've been picking on Philly for like a month now. It's been working out, so I'm going to continue riding it until they get out of this bye.
I also like Jacksonville this week. They have won their last 3 trips to London, so there's some form of...
Do we put any stock into that? Does that mean anything?
Yeah, I think there's a routine to making this trip. No one on the Eagles has done it. So I do think in this situation, you have a team that is incredibly experienced at it versus a team that has no experience. I also think Jacksonville's a really desperate team right now.
Jacksonville needs this win more than Philly.
And Philly, a lot of national media picked up on, like in preseason, that there was a lackadaisical, sleepwalking vibe to the Eagles. And yes, there have been a lot of injuries, but that does sort of still seem to be the case. I, like you, think the second half the Eagles can, flip a switch and that division still sets up for them to do it. Jacksonville, they'll win this game outright, actually. So
I'm with you. Tim?
This will be a real money game for me, too, probably. Not SUPERLOCK, but I could see myself waking up, getting action early.
So we'll be going against each other here because I like the Eagles. And if you believe, as I do, that the Eagles are still a top 3 or 4 team in the NFC, that they're a team that could definitely make the Super Bowl, who have all the talent to sort of be a team to vie for the Super Bowl. And I don't expect them to go play a neutral site game against Blake Bortles and lose. I think the team that's that's leaking far more oil than Philly is Jacksonville. Their calling card was defense, and they look defanged. And they bench their quarterback, and they get nothing out of that. Now they're going back to the well. Bortles has played really well, really once all season, maybe twice if you count the Jets game too. I believe that the Jaguars are outmatched at most positions, and that Philadelphia, for 3 quarters, Philadelphia looked like the old Philadelphia last week, and then they just fell apart in the 4th quarter. I think that Doug Peterson will get this figured out quickly enough. I don't think that I don't think the Jaguars are good enough to beat the Eagles right now. And of course, neither does Vegas. So I will take the Eagles to maybe try to. The Jaguars don't need this game as much because all the teams in their division are bad. They may be down 2 games.
Wrong, because they lose in the important head-to-head game. They lost to
Jacksonville. They'll get the Texans again. Everything is still in front of them because 9 wins is the magic number. If you can get to 9, you'll probably win the division then. So I don't know. I just think that both teams sort of need it, but I think that the Eagles are just a superior team, so I'll take them.
Yeah, I think Philly needs this less, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm not sweating anyone in the NFC East. I'm just not. If Washington was so good, they wouldn't be like a pick-em against the Giants.
No, it's not Washington that I think they should be afraid of.
Oh, you should think they'd be afraid of Dallas with Amari Cooper because he's so good?
Well, I just think their defense is top shelf, and that offense, if it can just be middle of the road,
Can their offense be middle of the road?
That it remains to be seen.
And they're already behind the 8 ball.
Yeah, but they haven't played each other yet. So,
Right. Next game. The coin likes Philadelphia there. Baltimore at Carolina to kick off the Sunday slate. 2.5 this line is up to. The favorites are Baltimore, home dogs for the Panthers. The game total is 44. That's why you go for 2, Geoff. So you don't have Justin Tucker miss an extra point. That's like the most shocking thing of the year. Also, that Baltimore Saints game was the best game of the year so far.
Zero sympathy, zero fucks given for Baltimore and their fans. For once, you get to go to bed in kicker hell for one night only.
Should they cut Justin Tucker? Is his confidence shattered?
Yeah, they should trade him.
Is he going to miss them all from here on out?
They should trade him to the Chargers. Really interesting game here, though. I agree, probably the best game of the week last week, and
it was the best game of the year.
We learned.
I don't know that I agree with that.
What was the best game of the year to you?
The Chiefs and Patriots might have been a better game.
I don't know. I think that it's funny that I'm saying this because I enjoy a nice shootout, but that sort of had everything. Like there was so much. Like the
Niners and the Niners and Packers on Monday night was a better game, in my opinion.
I don't know about
that was a great game.
Sure. But just like Sean Payton on the opening drive, like going forward on 4th down, like 3 consecutive times, like the Ravens doing smart things like, hey, we're at the 47, we're 4th and 8, can't make a field goal. Just go for it. And just continuously going for it on 4th down. I loved it. It's fantastic.
So a lot of people got their panties in a bunch at this point spread. And that, in my opinion, has led to Carolina, I think, going to be a publicly backed home underdog.
Really?
I do like Baltimore here. I think Carolina, who we both had as our super lock last week, and we're happy to cash the ticket, and they won outright. I'm not going to lie, the game flow wasn't exactly as I would have predicted, or the reason it became said super lock. But you beat the defending champ on a last second or very late, comeback win.
And then stop them as they're charging.
Yeah, I think it's a bad spot game for Carolina. Baltimore, I don't know, they're always ready for this fight. Although I saw Tim's boy, Cam Newton, his career at home against AFC teams, 11-4. Maybe they just, they rarely get to see him. They don't, I don't know whether there's something.
Cam is a good. Baltimore's defense is really good, but Cam's he's going to make mistakes in this game. He's going to get sacked a bunch because the Carolina offensive line isn't very good. But he's still sort of a game breaker to really good defenses because if he gets to the edge and there's room to run, he's going to take off down the field for 50 yards.
Yeah, and he looked great, or his numbers have been really strong, and I guess credit to Norvell Turner, who's helped develop him.
But their offense has been anemic 2 weeks in a row through 3 quarters.
But they had that great comeback last week.
Sure, they've had 2 nice comebacks in a row. Is that going to happen against Baltimore?
No, I like Baltimore here, but Cam also, McCaffrey didn't have a strong game.
Do you think he's going to have a good strong game this time around?
No, I'm just trying to give credit to Cam Newton, who I guess won NFC Player of the Week and deservedly so. But I'm still going to go against what I think is going to be the general consensus here, and I'm going to pick Baltimore on the road to cover this game.
Coin likes Baltimore as well. Tim, you love picking against Cam Newton. Will you be doing it again?
I picked the Panthers last week and had them in Super 7. I will be taking the Ravens. Let's take a trip down memory lane of the Carolina Panthers season. They looked terrible against Dallas, terrible in a loss against the Falcons.
They didn't look terrible against Dallas. They beat down Dallas in week 1.
16-8.
Yeah, it's very clear you didn't sit down and watch that game.
I watched almost all of it.
Then I don't see how you could think that
Dallas
game was...
couldn't move the ball all game.
Exactly.
And they won by 1 score. They lost... the only good game they played all year was the one against the Bengals, which they took care of. The Giants game, they snuck out of that with a win because the kicker hit one from outside the lot. They were flat as a pancake against the Redskins, and they were bad for 3 quarters. Vegas knows this is not a very good team. Vegas knows this is a pretty fraudulent team. The Ravens played one of the best teams in football last week and was an extra point away from taking them to overtime. I think the Ravens will be able to smother them defensively. I think the Panthers just don't have game outside of maybe McCaffrey and Newton. They just don't have game breakers that you need to beat Baltimore. The Saints have significantly more offensive talent than the Panthers threw at you, and the Saints could muster 24 points. And I just don't think that the recipe is there for the Panthers. I think that 2.5 is not nearly enticing enough. The Ravens is the way to play this game, I think.
I'm taking the Ravens as well. I think the Ravens are really good. I think their offense is weirdly underrated because it's looked pretty solid. throughout the course of the season. Carolina's defense is getting better as the season goes along once they get these guys back. But I think the Panthers offense actually has a bunch of game breakers. Like Curtis Samuel is a game breaker. DJ Moore is a game breaker. They just don't use these guys. And when they do, it's always for I think Samuel has touchdowns 2 straight weeks on weird reverses. He makes one guy miss and boop, he's gone.
I think Baltimore is a very scary team, and I think their style of football.
They should scare the Patriots and Chiefs.
Well, I'll put myself in there also.
The Chargers are not on that level.
No, but I think that the Ravens style of football is a big problem for those 2 teams you mentioned, and also for the Chargers.
Oh yeah, well they do it. Basically, the Ravens are
they're really good Tennessee.
Yeah, no, they're
exceptionally good Titans.
Basically, they're the lesser version of the Chargers, but they're really good in all the ways that you can not afford to be bad in. They have a good kicking game. They're incredibly well coached. They're good on special teams. They don't make mistakes like the Chargers do.
Yeah, and they'll also in a big game, I could see them.
Fucking thing.
Don't hit me.
I'm not trying to get these flies. They're everywhere. Continue.
I was just gonna say, in a big game, I could see them keeping the ball away from a Brady or Mahomes for 7.5, 8 minutes and getting points. Specifically a touchdown. You might have got that one.
I don't think so. I see them flying around. Continue, please.
I'm done. I'm just saying they're a bad matchup for the teams that play more of a modern style football. They could really put a wrench in.
They are
in a lot of things.
They're the only team in the AFC that even Patriots fans would admit they'd be sort of scared of to see in the playoffs.
If they didn't throw the ball as well as they have, I'd say the offense would have problems against Carolina because Carolina's run defense is still quite good, but they don't need to.
I'm surprised this is a round of Baltimore because I do believe, maybe it's a sharp group because I do believe
we are not a sharp group.
I do believe Carolina is going to go off as a publicly backed underdog in this game.
Okay. Cleveland at Pittsburgh. Cleveland are 8-point underdogs at Heinz Field. The game total.
No, they're 8. Oh, yeah, sorry, Cleveland. Sorry, go ahead.
Can I finish?
Yes.
The game total is 50. Thank you for butting in to give people bad information. That's always nice for the people to know. I love Cleveland in this game. I don't understand how this is 8 points. Cleveland just exclusively plays close games.
Yeah, it's 8 points because there's a rule when a really good and really bad divisional opponent play the second time, if they play close once, they won't play close twice. And we're going to see that in a couple of games this week, and this is one of them. The Steelers are playing really good football right now. They've sort of got things figured out. The Browns are playing bad football right now. I think this 8 points is generous to the Browns. I think that the line truly should be about 10.5. I think that there's some public backing on the Browns. I'm thinking the same way you do. Oh, the Browns are
really.
So
you think that you have no idea how the public thinks. If you think that people are lining up to bet Cleveland against Pittsburgh,
they do because Cleveland.
No, they don't. They absolutely do not. Who are the most public teams to bet on in football? Dallas, Green Bay, Pittsburgh, and now New England.
I will say to
I think Cleveland has stolen the brass ring on this.
What are you fucking talking about?
Hold on a second. Let me just sort of interject.
Who's right? Who's the more public team, Geoff?
Well, I think Pittsburgh
Jeff
in this
does
instance.
not have to answer an ultimatum.
But I do want to say this. You're right that you have your consistent public teams, but you also do get flavor of the month.
Oh, so you're saying that Pittsburgh, who's starting a winning streak and starting to look good? Oh no, let's take Cleveland.
I think 2 weeks ago, going into the Charger game, Cleveland was that flavor of the month.
That's not what we're at right now.
I don't think they are. I agree with you. I'm on the Browns, but I'll say this. God help this Cleveland team. They've played 2 games this year that they've been unable to win. 5 turnovers against Steelers week 1, they get a tie. They have 4 turnovers against that Buccaneer team last week, against that Buccaneer defense, most of them setting them up with really good field position, and they can't do anything? Shame on the Browns.
Well, against the Buccaneers.
Shame on the Browns for not being able to win that game, getting 4 turnovers and some of the field position that they got to restart drives in. That being said, I'm still on Cleveland, and I'll I want to say Florio Pro Football Talk pointing this out. It's almost like the perfect storm is happening in Cleveland, where you're excited and you're seeing like real development that's going to be sprinkled in with wins along the way, but at the same time, real things holding them back, where the new GM Dorsey can the coach. Like, the right things are happening. They're winning, or like good things are happening, but they're not winning enough, and they're still losing stupid ways where you can fire the coach but still feel really great about the program. Give me Cleveland +8. Pittsburgh always goes into these games so lackadaisical. So it's a coin flip. You either get A Pittsburgh effort or D Pittsburgh effort. I think we'll see the worst version of Pittsburgh.
Like let's not forget the Pittsburgh defense sucks. The only thing they can do is get to the passer, which everyone does against Cleveland anyway. So what's really the difference between Cleveland offense this week and every other week is that they're going to put up like 20 points. And that's going to be good enough to cover the 8. Because their defense is good.
If they put up 20, they will not cover the 8.
So then why don't you make the over the super lock then?
I don't do that.
What's
I'm just
their
saying.
record?
I don't think they're going to get to 20.
Yeah. 2-4-1?
Yeah.
2-4-1. They've gotten no help at the quarterback position the last couple of weeks.
They really haven't. And you know what? For all that hype about the guy, to me, there's no question the better one. Well, I love Tim's quarterback.
Oh, he was terrific last week.
No,
he completed
he wasn't
Sterling
great, but all
30% of his passes.
You just read Twitter.
I think you're following the wrong people when you're following Tim and Michael Salfino.
No.
Oh, you know who's great?
No,
Super Bowl
no,
sound.
that's not what I'm
saying. You know when it's better? When his cock is down my throat. Oh, he completes 28% of his passes.
You know, Tim himself, they're extreme.
Tim said that he would throw over 500 touchdown passes.
My only point being is if you, like, the big picture on Twitter has this perception that, like, Mayfield's been great. And
he hasn't been.
I don't think that's the case.
But I haven't seen anyone say that.
I don't think
the only person who says that, the only reason that ever comes up is because Tim is proclaimed him to be the worst quarterback of all time.
I don't think he is the worst quarterback, but there's no doubt that he's the best of the draft.
He's a rookie, but I've been real, I don't know. I still think he got hurt in that Charger game.
Maybe.
But he did get hurt in the Charger game. He hurt his ankle.
Well, I think he got hurt, and that's really...
You think he's toughing it out, playing it through? I mean, that's the one positive to having Sam Darnold. He's too stupid to feel pain.
It's just...
The blitz!
Sam makes some plays under pressure.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe Rodgers and Brady can make, and that's the list.
How old is Darnold?
21. He's going to be with
21 years old.
Okay, so if I started a 17-year-old on the Bills, are we like, he's great, he's 17?
No, my point being is at 21 and what I've seen, some of the throws he makes, he's already like, his floor to me is
what he's really good at?
NFL quarterback.
Throwing to the other team. Very good at that.
His
Again,
floor
many of those interceptions are not even interceptions.
Oh, yeah, not even his fault. Not even real interceptions.
Darnold's floor to me is higher than all their floors, and his ceiling to me is just as high as all the other rookie ceilings, maybe higher.
That's incontrovertible.
I hate that I have to... I'm not at his extremes on
You
it.
really are. It sounds like Tim has already said he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. Tim has said he's going to throw over 500 touchdown passes in his career.
No, I never said that.
When it was brought up to you whether or not he would throw for 500, more or less, you said, it seems pretty sane to me. I would take the over. That's what you said. And then you refused to bet me $5K
The
on it.
difference between me and Tim is that I believed in Sam Darnold way before he ever believed in Sam Darnold.
He didn't believe him until he was drafted as a Jet. Before that, he sucked.
That's where me and Tim disagree.
So you and I are in Cleveland. The coin and Tim are on Pittsburgh. Denver and Kansas City. It's 10.
I like this game a lot.
53.5.
It's not
Same
enough.
theory as last time. When a good and a bad divisional opponent play, they'll play close once. They will not play close twice. So the Chiefs are the play for sure, and the Chiefs are the first end of a 5-team 7-point teaser. We'll tease them down to -3.
I think this should be 13.
It probably should. I'm gonna take Denver either way. Denver's pass rush is back. And the one part of Kansas City's team that is banged up right now is the offensive line. If they can get in Mahomes' face, they can muck it up again. They can run.
This game is going to get out of hand.
And like we saw the first time around, what do they do to Kansas City on offense? They just let them run the ball. They'll do that again.
That was a great little home spot for Denver.
Yeah, it was.
I'll be honest. I think a lot of the the power rankings nationally aren't even respecting the Chiefs.
What?
I see them like as low as 4 in way too many places. To me, they're the best team in football. That being said, I think if they had to play the Rams, I might have more confidence the Rams make that big stop. I learned more about this team in that loss to the Patriots. I'll take this from Sports Rage. They are like the Golden State Warriors. Like everything works. And now you don't see that in football. Even the really good teams. You don't see it like ever being that like ridiculous. I think Collinsworth called them the Globetrotters. I mean, that's what watching them on offense feels like. And as a fan of a team in the conference, you can only just hope that the best team in football hasn't played its best football yet. I should say the team that wins the Super Bowl usually hasn't played its best football
at this point of the season.
You know, usually
what
they wait
sort
to
of power
play
rankings could have them? I mean, the worst case scenario you could make for Chiefs
Patriots,
power rankings
Rams,
would be third.
Saints.
I would
People
still have
love
them,
the Saints.
I would still really over the Chiefs.
I've seen it a lot. I guarantee you, even big ones, like
I think,
mainstream.
Even
ones.
though they lost to the Patriots, I think it's been pretty clear that the best two teams in football have been the Rams and the Chiefs.
My 2 Super Bowl picks at the start of the year, I might add.
So you're taking a victory lap in week 8? That sounds like you.
I'm feeling pretty good about it. I've got 2 teams, 6-1 and 7-0 through week 7. My pick is looking pretty good.
What would you say the odds are on that being the Super Bowl right now? What would you say that the odds are?
On the Super Bowl, because it's a one single elimination playoff. I mean, I don't know.
So now you're backtracking a little bit?
I'd say 35%, maybe 30%.
So 3-1?
Something like that, but I don't like the playoffs are such a crapshoot, right?
Oh yeah, so the playoffs don't actually mean anything, Jeff. They don't mean.
No, just they're all crapshoots.
That's what Tim's saying.
You get some stormy and cold weather in the wrong spot, and next thing you know, things go pear-shaped, and a team who's an underdog wins. I cheer for a team that made 2 consecutive title games, who was the worst team in every game they played. So weird things happen in the playoffs.
He's taking a victory lap on his Super Bowl pick in Week 8 and now building in excuses of why it's not going to happen. But I like it. I like it. He's playing all sides of this one.
But here's the thing. It goes off contrary to what we just spoke about, that usually the team that wins the Super Bowl hasn't played its best football. Now, granted, both these teams could be super teams and they can play their best.
This year, to me, feels like the 2009 season when when the Colts and the Saints were by far the best 2 teams all season, and eventually they found their way to the Super Bowl, but they had to dodge some real bullets on their way to getting there.
Listen,
but eventually they got there.
I was a fan of BCS college football because it took away Cinderella and it just gave us the 2 best teams. Rare. It's so rare in all pro sports except the NBA that you really get like 1v1.
Tennis usually works out that way.
It's special.
Men's tennis.
It feels great when we do get 1v1. And we've gotten it a few times. I think like Carolina, Denver was 1v1.
Philadelphia, New England was 1v1.
Yeah, so it seems to be happening more. But there was like an extensive period of time, like almost like 17 years, where we didn't get 1v1 in the NFL.
So if the Rams and Chiefs are Tim's Super Bowl picks, what happens to those 2 teams between now and the Super Bowl, do you think? What devastating thing is going to happen to these teams?
I don't even want to make guesses.
This sounds a lot like when he said both the Titans and Raiders.
But part of
we're going to go to the AFC Championship game, and 1 week later they no longer had quarterbacks.
But Tim, it's sad knowing that
this is what he's bragging about.
As someone that like would
through 7 weeks, my pick is in.
The Chiefs are so good that all I have to hold on to of them falling back is that Tim picked them.
Well, I also fear for the Chiefs' sake that, listen, we've seen amazing offenses, whether it be the 07 Patriots or the 13 Broncos, who are actually the best offense I've ever seen, maybe even better than the 99 Rams. Other than the 99 Rams, all those teams found a way to lose in the Super Bowl or down the line. In fact, I guess both those teams lost in the Super Bowl. Or the 02 Raiders, who are, again, one of the best offenses we've ever seen. Those teams sooner or later meet their match, but maybe it won't happen.
So who are you taking here, Jeff?
I think the spread should be 13.
Okay,
so I think Kansas City.
You and Tim are on KC. The coin and myself will take Denver in the points. Next game, Tim's Jumbo Jets are in the Windy City, where I hear quite windy. Chicago. They're 7-point dogs. I would imagine this gets up to 7.5, 8 by the time kickoff comes along. People are going to love the Bears in this game. Tim, what did you think? Is he this week? Is he Super Bowl Sam? Is he closer to that end, or is he CFL Sam?
I think that I'm unhappy that this is the game we get the Bears, in that the Bears defense has played god awful the last 2 weeks. I expect them to really whip themselves into shape and play a good game. This is like the worst time to catch the Bears after 2 games where they didn't play the script.
Already built in excuses.
Not excuses. I told you weeks ago, I don't care about the wins and the losses. I care about seeing development.
On Sunday, you were saying fire Bulls, fire everyone.
Well, because he didn't have the team ready to play football, and
then you said they claimed they had quit on the coach.
Well, they look like. I mean, listen. This was it. The first drive of the game, there was a clear safety, and Bulls didn't challenge. Then, like later on in that half, there was almost certainly a long reception by Anderson that he didn't challenge. Like he just doesn't seem like he's up to the task, and that perhaps somebody else could fill his spot. And I think that is going to happen if the Jets are going to move to the next level. But this year is just about getting the team ready for when that new coaching staff is ushered in to take the team to the next level. I just think this is a good spot for the Bears. The Bears are a borderline playoff team in the NFC. If they are, this is the sort of game at home they got to take care of. The Bears are the second end of a free money 7-point teaser. We'll tease them down to a pick. I don't think at home they're losing this game to the Jets.
But what about the number?
I'm taking
the Bears against the number 2.
So, do you think he's more like Arena Bowl Sam because they were wearing arena jerseys last week?
I know what you're trying to bait me into, and I won't fall for it. Sam had made some bonehead mistakes that a 21-year-old's going to make, but he also made some throws that a pro top-shelf quarterback make too. So
he did. They went right to Minnesota, right on the money, right to the Vikings. Here's the thing:
there were a couple.
He's not Super Bowl. He's not Super Bowl Sam. He's not Arena Sam. He's safe space Sam. He's a millennial, and he gets very triggered very quickly when people like his safe space is his backfield, and when people get into it, he gets really antsy. He doesn't know what to do, and he has to throw the ball away. And then, when he goes to the sidelines, he gets on the phone. He's not talking to the offensive coordinator. He's talking to his therapist, who's setting him up with a sympathy peacock to calm his nerves while he's on the sideline, Tim.
All right, you know what? This is all preposterous, and you know that it's preposterous. Some of us are supporters, like Geoff and I. We would take a grenade for him. We would throw our hands on a blade for him. We really believe in what Sam can do as an NFL pro.
But what happens if he's too triggered all the time? Will they institute a new rule?
I don't buy that.
Will they have to institute a rule where you can't rush him because you can't come into his safe space? He's going to petition the league.
In other words, institute the Tom Brady rules? I mean, I guess, if that's what you want. Sam is he for 21 years old, he's already got 3 wins on his. What did Peyton Manning go in his rookie year? 4-12. Like Peyton, as far as I'm concerned, is the best quarterback to ever play the game. If Sam can get 5, 6, 7 wins, that'd be nice. I don't really care about the wins, though. I care about seeing development, and what we are seeing is at 21 years old, the raw potential of when he's 25 or 26. If he stays healthy, he'll probably be owning this league. I mean, the Jets don't have any weapons. Imagine if the Jets had a couple of really, top-tier NFL, even 1 or 2 top-tier weapons to pair with him. My goodness, he could be something special. And I think when he's 25, 26, 27 years from now, you would have all your work ahead of you trying to make the case that he won't be one of the better quarterbacks in football. I'm sorry, that's just the facts on the ground.
Some of what Tim says makes so much sense, but why in September and August were you telling us this team's winning like 11 games?
The schedule, I thought, set up well for them. But
2 weeks ago, this was a guaranteed win against the Bears.
I agree. Darnold has nobody. He doesn't have an O-line. He doesn't have... compared to what number 1 overall has, he doesn't have a defense like that guy.
Hey, listen, the Jets' defense isn't bad. The offensive line is probably better on the Jets. And who the hell does Baker Mayfield have to throw to? Jarvis Landry. That's it.
Tight end,
and he has a bunch.
Really good.
All right, so now the weapons in Cleveland are pretty good, Tim. Right?
No, the weapons in Cleveland. Are pretty
so which one is it? Are they good or are they bad?
Neither are dealing with very good weapons.
The injury report is scary this week for the Jets. That concerns me.
No Bilal Powell. That means you have cannons in there.
I still think it's too many points, but it's the defensive secondary that I'm concerned about for the Jets on the injury report that could lead this game to getting out of hand. I'm going to take the Jets. I do expect This will be a higher number, though, come kickoff.
Yeah, I'm going to wait. I actually like the Jets in this game, too. I don't think that the Bears' offense is very good. Like, they rely on their quarterback, like, running around in circles and then everyone, like, falling down and he runs past them. This isn't the Patriots. This isn't the Patriots' defense that they're dealing with here. The Jets' defense is pretty good. Can I please finish?
Okay.
Or would you like to continue talking? You know what? You continue talking. You host the show from here on out. No, you had something to say. Well, go ahead, Poochie. Spill it.
The only point is the Patriots offense scored fewer points than the Bears last week. That's all.
They also had 2 fewer possessions because they scored a special teams and defensive touchdown. So that doesn't factor into what your point was? You just wanted to make a snide remark about the Patriots? Is that what you were getting at?
Yes, I wanted to take a crack at them.
Mm-hmm. So that works. Them coming off a win. The team that you bet against to win the division, which is looking pretty good.
Only a game off. I don't have a game lead.
Paul, that was even money, right? He gave you even money? Sensible wagers from Tim. Are you good? Do you got anything else to say?
No, I'm going to put myself on mute here.
Oh, no? Oh, well, I want to get back talking about Safe Space Sam. So this all really plays into it. That teams aren't allowed to rush him anymore. He complained to the league. Like, it's funny that Tim
he didn't complain to the league.
It's funny that Tim gets behind, like, he hates millennials. Then he's like, Safe Space Sam is out here complaining that people are triggering him too much. People are being too mean to him.
No, he's not.
You know, they wouldn't allow him to bring his sympathy peacock on the plane with him.
You are just lying outright to attempt to rile me up. And I don't know what the purpose of that is other than to get me upset about, like, he hasn't done anything. He's actually, considering how little skill that he's been surrounded with, he hasn't been complaining. He's been very stoic about it. I mean, I think his sort of inner strength has been shown because, I mean, we're dealing with a guy who's likely to be the superstar quarterback of football in 5, 6, 7 years. And the fact that they're just basically setting on fire a year of his development with no skill around him. And the one receiver that he had a real rapport with, Anunwa, out for a while, they're not looking to replace. Like, the Jets should be on the horn trying to get a receiver, not for this year, but a receiver for now in order to give Sam someone to throw to develop good tendencies and to progress. Like, it's so infuriating what they're doing. But you're just trying to whip me up about Safe Space. That's not a nickname that anyone's ever said. It's not
I don't know. I walk around the streets, and if I see some loser with a Jets hat on, I'm like, what do you think of Safe Space? And he's like, oh, I wish he wasn't triggered so much. But, you know, that's just the case when you have a millennial quarterback.
I'm not even going to dignify that with an answer.
Now, let's say they grant him access to allow his sympathy peacock on the sidelines, will you get one too?
I am terrified of peacocks. They are one of my greatest fears. When I was 2 years old, my parents took me to like a wildlife park, and a peacock screamed in my ear because they let those damn things run wild outside the cage. And I was so scarred from that experience that peacocks are the greatest. Not afraid of pterodactyls. Peacocks are my greatest fear. They really are. I can't be near them. I freak out around them. It's wholly irrational, but that's the reason.
How often do you find yourself near a peacock?
Well, when I was in Calgary, going to you go to the zoo once or twice a year. Christmas time, they put lights up at the zoo. That's like the big thing in the city.
What do you go to the zoo for?
I like to see the animals. I like
the tigers. You have childlike wonder, don't you?
I like the elephants. I like the big tigers. I like the lions. I like the monkeys. I like the penguins. I like all the animals. They're so cool. And so I would go to the zoo a couple of times a year. But one time I went, and those peacocks were like in my path. I couldn't go to the tiger cage because there were peacocks on the path. I had to turn around and walk in the other direction without looking back so the people couldn't tell I was unnerved. But at the same time, I was not in any way, shape, or form going by those. I'm terrified of those things. I hate them. They're vain. They're the devil's handmaiden. I want nothing to do with them.
So, if Sam brings his sympathy peacock on the sidelines, will you stop rooting for him?
I would be terrified. Like that story that you're referencing of the person who tried to take their Their it was emotional support peacock.
Yeah, that was Sam. That was Sam Darnold. He needs the emotional support because he's too triggered because people enter his safe space.
If I was on an airplane and there was a peacock next to me, it would not be good. It would be the peacock or me because we're not both going on this flight. The bird's going or I'm going. Either which way, we are not going to be together. Oh, just the thought of those things makes my skin crawl.
Seattle at Detroit. The Lions are 3-point favorites, coming off a very impressive win against the Brock Ness monster in Miami. Game total is 49.5. Seattle's coming off the bye. Not having Earl Thomas, really, I don't know how it's going to impact their defense. It didn't really matter against Oakland because Oakland. But aren't the Lions just way better? Lions 5-1 ATS too. Like, it seems like this feels somewhat disrespectful to Detroit at home. I know they're a stupid team and they do stupid things, but they've been good this year. Like, this should be like 5 points, I think. For the way that they played and the way that Seattle has played, like, Seattle only really has one move. Just try to run as much as possible and hope that works. And it could against this Lions defense. That's in the cards. But I don't see how they stop the Lions offense.
I think the Lions made a fantastic trade today. Getting Snacks Harrison, one of the better run stoppers in football. And it only cost them a fifth because Snacks has a couple years of big money, I think, due. I like when Seattle was in its heyday, which kind of feel like wasn't too far long ago, 2 years ago. They were always thrown bones by the league, Pat, that when they had to play these cross-country games, they'd get to play these games on the East Coast at 4 Eastern. That's not the case anymore. Seattle's just an also-ran like the rest of us. And I believe it's a really, even off a bye, 1 o'clock for a team like Seattle, the old greatness of Seattle might have been able to overcome these situations. I like Detroit here.
So Detroit for me, Detroit for the coin. Tim, you love going to see the Lions at the zoo. Do you like them this week?
I actually think this game is going to be a push. So if you're forcing me to take, I'll take the Seahawks. I don't feel very strongly about it. I think it's a very close game. I think that the Seahawks are much better than I thought they were going to be this year. I thought they might be the worst team in football. So I was dead wrong about that. I still have more to see from the Lions before I believe in them. The Lions are like the opposite of the Bengals in that I am willing to believe in the Bengals way too quickly, and I'm often proved wrong. And I am very hesitant to ever believe in the Lions, and more often than not, in the last few years anyway, when they've been decent, I've been proved wrong. So I am still going to lean towards Seattle in the ball game, but with like a 51-49 sense of confidence. I'm not strong on this game.
I feel like Detroit got a bum rap this year because they got blown out by the Jets in a game everyone watched week 1. And I feel like no one's paid attention to them since.
Do you remember?
Well, the Cowboys game, they did not acquit themselves very well.
They didn't, no, but that's not really a game that a lot of people watch, though, was it? Like, that was
you don't think the Dallas game?
It's a game that people in Dallas watch, but like that's a buried late afternoon game.
It was a 1 o'clock game because I watched it at the bar before the Charger.
Was that
when I went to the
Chargers?
Chargers?
I don't think Dallas plays a 2 o'clock game.
Yeah, I didn't think they had either.
That game was on TV before I went to the Chargers game, so
Really?
It had to be in the early.
I thought it was a late afternoon game. Anyway, I mean, maybe it's because when we were watching.
Tate had 2 touchdowns.
Yeah. They what? They won by 2?
Anyhow,
then they beat Miami. They beat Green Bay.
This is identical. At least the ATS run a record
like the Vikings a few years
ago.
The
Vikings, they were favorites on the road in San Fran. They got their asses handed to them, and everyone sort of made an assumption about them. And then I think it was even a Bridgewater Viking team.
Yeah, they
were like the best ATS team in football.
They started the year 0-1, then they were 11-1 after 12 games, just because everyone had that one notion in their head of what this team was, and that no matter how many spreads they covered every week in a row, it just never changed. And it seems like Detroit's just rolling right now. Like I said, five spreads.
That
in a row.
being said, picking the Lions here. One of these quarterbacks has the ball with under 2 minutes and
to win the game.
To win that game or tie it with a field goal. Something. That's just what Lion games feel like. Also, unfortunately, going against Detroit and just, I guess, perception would make this come real clear. They have a horrible ATS record after winning a game by double digits.
Detroit?
Yeah, it's like they can't stack them.
Yeah, I can see that.
Against that.
Well, they don't need to win by double digits. They can win by 7.
Yeah, no, I like Detroit here. Seattle off a bye. It's their first game since the owner passed, which is always a bit of a thing.
But they're coming back from London, too. Like, it's not just like, hey, we're in Seattle. Let's go.
I actually think the Chargers are going to feel the hurt of Paul Allen's death next week because it'll be their first home game. Maybe I'm just, there. But I like Detroit here.
Okay, so Detroit for everyone besides Tim. Tampa at Tim's Cincinnati Bengals. Tim, we'll start with you. It's -4.5 for the Bengals. 54 is the over-under. Who you got?
I got the Bengals. I don't know. I'm a fool, I guess. I keep backing them week after week, even though that they're 4-3 against the spread this year. I think that they're just chock-a-block with skill. I think that against this Tampa defense at home, they really ought to be able to take advantage of the various problems that Tampa has on the back end. They should be able to run the ball. I don't think that the Buccaneers are going to be able to get to Dalton, be able to disrupt his timing. I think A.J. Green could have a field day. In DFS, he's the guy I want this week over anybody else at wide receiver, other than, of course, Adam Thielen, who must be owned in all formats.
Yeah, he's not on the main slate there, Tim.
He is not. That's right. It's a Sunday night game. You're right. So, yeah, then Green is the guy you want.
Did you also take shots at Thielen last week?
Yeah, Thielen could. He claimed that Thielen wouldn't do anything.
I thought the Jets would double him. That's what I've been hearing all week. I thought the Jets were going to take him out of the game. They elected not to do that.
That's what he read on Jets Reddit.
Yeah.
Let's just clarify what he says, he'd been hearing.
Yeah. You know who else is real big on Sam Darnold? Jets Reddit. They like their chances.
So I really like the Bengals in this game, but I'm terrified because the Bengals are not afraid to self-destruct, and so that's a worry.
I like Tampa. It's too many points since he wins by 3.
Yeah, that's sort of how I feel. Although I'll probably still be a sucker and take Cincy, but they have not been very good since Buddy got hurt at tight end. They've really hit a wall offensively.
It's very Canadian of you, since Buddy got hurt at tight end.
They were rolling off it. Everything was going, and that's sort of like, if you want to pinpoint where things sort of fell off the rails, even though they had a great comeback in that Atlanta game. I don't know. Tampa.
Yeah, Uzomah is not the tight end that Buddy is.
Remind me where Tampa was last week.
Tampa was at home against Cleveland. They won in overtime.
Oh,
59-yard field goal.
Horrible game.
Now, this would play into your teams coming off overtime.
Oh, yeah. It would, too.
But you took Cleveland against Pittsburgh.
But winning in overtime.
Yeah. They won in overtime.
Cleveland didn't win.
No, but they went to overtime.
Yes, but it's more winning. That big stat of the heavy ATS stat is teams off wins in overtime.
I don't feel super confident about Tampa here, but the Bengals defense is absolutely banged up at this point. And,
guys might not play.
And Tampa is moving the ball. They make stupid decisions because
if those linebackers aren't playing for Cincy, I'll be switching this pick come Sunday. But for the record and for the cheat sheet, I'll be on the Bengals.
The coin is with me on the Bucks. Last game of the 1:00 slate: Washington at the Giants. Can someone explain this spread to me? +1 Giants. Is this lock of the year? Why would the Giants be basically a pick 'em? The Giants are horrible.
I don't know about that.
And everyone watches them lose.
They did have a backdoor cover.
Washington off an emotional win versus a big rival. It's a good spot game, in my opinion, for
Washington's
the Giants.
you could have said the exact same thing last week. The Carolina win's huge, too, with the Redskins 2 weeks ago. They're just kind of... They don't look good doing it.
No, the Redskins...
But they're beating good teams. They can't beat a bad team?
I hate this game. This is where I was going to, use my time to talk about the Chargers because I had no clue what to do with
we talked about the
Chargers
at the beginning.
That's why that sort of got out of the system. So I got nothing to say here.
It's a classic smell test game. The line seems funky, so you take the Giants. It's the only way to play it.
Every time I've done that this year, it just has not worked out for me.
It's worked. No, when you took the Redskins versus Carolina.
And when I took Miami against Chicago. But I every single week, the sharp money piles in
on the Giants.
On the Giants.
We did the
I'm
show
on the Giants this week too, quite a bit.
Yeah, you're right. The last couple weeks, everyone, that game versus the Eagles on Thursday was like, it kept dropping. It dropped to like a pick-up.
And even last week,
And last
it was
week
like
we
six
did
and
a
a half.
5.5, 6 on when we did the record, and it went off at 3.
Went off
And
at
they
3. No, well, they pushed the 3.
Well,
Well,
if you bet
3.5, and
we-
it was 3.5 most places. But yeah, I don't
it
know.
got,
The
it
Sharks,
got down to 3, then everyone jumped on it. Later.
here's also
Yeah.
the problem. The Giants, for as bad as they were, and I'll give them props for this, and I think we're seeing in football with what the Raiders and Giants and what other teams might be up to in the next couple of weeks, is they're realizing we always knew at home that drafting 3rd overall was better than finishing 7 and 9.
Yes.
And it seems like teams and front offices are finally realizing that. Or hold on. It's not that they're realizing it.
That. They're still starting Eli, now, unless that's a part
Okay,
of their
fine.
tanking. But I think they think Eli's good.
Sure. But I guess I would say, I don't know if teams are finally realizing it as if the guys in the front offices didn't know it before. But I think there's a general support for it from the public that there might not have been 15, 20 years ago. Like your ticket buying public wants you.
When Tim was all triggered that teams were tanking.
So, but
He
they
wouldn't stand for it, yet he
they
would continue to
traded.
buy gear
I mean,
anyway.
Apple sucks, but Apple also is in a position where he's got to like cover Julio Jones. Or he's out there covering like top YRs, which he's not capable
Janoris Jenkins is covering those guys.
of
and
doing.
getting lit up.
Well, he sucks, but the guy they traded today is actually really good and integral to the defense. So
they have no answer for AP now?
I don't know, like they're just in full like fuck it mode, and they'll win a couple games in December, snow games that Saquon carries them to. That's going to cost them 1st overall, or they might not even be bad enough to be 1st overall. Because it goes both ways. Everyone that thinks, I agree they have a generational back, but if he's so good, then he should.
Why can't he win a game?
Why can't?
Because running backs can't win you games.
But I'm just saying, generational back, at least win you like 3.5 games and cost you 1st overall pick. So it's all going to work against them.
I mean, is he a generational back?
No, I don't-
Or are they just using him that way because they have no one else to use?
Well, I don't want to.
Like two years ago, you would have said the same thing about Ezekiel Elliott. How great's Zeke been this year?
The last
I'm just
generational back
propping. Because listen, I don't want to turn this into like the debate on draft night because we'll hear it forever as the 2 New York teams. I think Tim's team is going to be giggling.
I tend to
forever.
agree. I would have taken the quarterback too. We saw on the Sunday show, we talked about when Melvin Gordon was ruled out. How much did the line change?
Didn't move.
0 points.
That's what I was thinking because I was like nervous. I'm like, oh, this sucks. I look at the line. I'm like, okay, maybe it doesn't suck because it doesn't really matter.
It's not to say that Melvin Gordon's not good. He is really good, but it just doesn't matter that much.
Yeah, unless you're Adrian Peterson in 2012 when he actually was single-handedly winning teams games. It's very, very rare indeed. Or Tomlinson when he won the MVP was winning games despite some pretty poor play elsewhere. There are very rare spots when a guy can, like Gurley is having statistically a year that could be an MVP year. He's not going to be the MVP. He could score 32, 33 touchdowns this year. He's not going to be the MVP because he's not the one winning the Rams the games as much as he's.
If you took Gurley away from the Rams, it would hurt them. But if you took him out of the lineup this week and Malcolm Brown was playing,
you know what?
What would the line be? 7?
Maybe
7.5. Yeah,
maybe.
It reeks, but I just gotta pick Washington because I'm with care.
And Washington's better.
If I'm wrong, or if come Sunday my opinion changed, but there's no way. I gotta make this pick. It's when we do this show. There's nothing that's gonna Who's gonna win? Give me Washington.
Indy and Oakland is up next. That's the first of the later set of games. They're 3-point dogs at home. Tim's having an aneurysm on the other end, it sounds like. 49.5 is the over-under. That seems kind of low. I like this as a sneaky shootout game this week for the Draftkings slate that a lot of people are overlooking because they're like, oh my God, how could Oakland be good? They don't have Marshawn Lynch or Amari Cooper. Great. They're still going to be 3-point underdogs, whether they had those guys or not. I actually like Oakland to win this game. Everyone's just kind of piling on. Even today. Do you know what John Gruden said today, Geoff?
I don't know.
Yes, because Geoff liked the tweet.
Oh. I didn't know if that was real or not.
Pretty sure
so
it's
I
real.
didn't want to quote it on the show.
It was put out by a person with a verified check mark, so I'm going to take it as real news instead of fake news that he didn't know if the Amari Cooper trade was actually finalized yet. Although Amari Cooper's practicing with Dallas.
I don't want to give Gruden any... You got to give him props for the trade, but it's more Jerry's crazy or desperate. And it's good that they picked on...
Well, here's the sneaky part that no one
credit.
talked about. And maybe people have been talking about it, I just haven't been listening. If you're Dallas and you have a first-round pick, couldn't you got a better receiver?
The team speak out of Dallas is no.
Yeah,
Well,
who's selling? Who were the better receivers?
No, he's saying like in the draft.
But no. I'm just saying with that first round pick,
yeah, probably.
you could like if you would
Really?
offer
Who's selling?
anyone, if
Really?
if you dangle a first round pick in front of anyone, they'll start listening.
Yeah, no, it's true. And the type of talent you can get.
Especially not one that has a deal coming up at the end of the year.
Yeah. No, so I'll give Gruden credit, and obviously...
Like, if they offered Tampa a first for Mike Evans, I think they would have given them Mike Evans.
I don't think so.
Why?
I didn't
Why
think
wouldn't they?
Tampa could make the playoffs this year. Tampa's got a quarterback who they took first overall, who you don't take away elite weapons from when you're trying to stress test and develop him to be your quarterback of the future. That would be malpractice.
I don't know if their offense really drops off all that much. They barely even use Mike Evans anymore.
Yeah, you're not getting rid of Mike Evans. Listen,
It's but think about how valuable a first round pick is and how much Amari Cooper is not worth a first round pick.
I get it. Listen, the Raiders now have 3 first-round picks next year. There's no team that's rebuilding a football team perhaps better than the Oakland Raiders.
Well, the problem is they're going to let Gruden draft the players, and he's going to be like, oh, are there 35-year-olds available to draft?
Well, we haven't really seen
I
him.
like what the Raiders have done now, like with the 3 first-rounders. I'll never diss the team that controls the draft.
Mm-hmm.
My insult to the Raiders is this wasn't the plan when Gruden took the job.
No.
You don't sign Doug Martin and Jordy Nelson. So they were so misguided
That it worked.
to begin with. Sure, it worked. And obviously now the plan has to be, build the team for Vegas. And obviously Tim spoke about that last
What
week.
about when they play in San Diego next year?
Next year is going to be a disaster for them. With what they're doing with that roster and leaving, and how lethargic those hardcore fans in Oakland will be towards that team next year. It'll be an interesting thing to see. That being said, Tim, Pat, I like Oakland as well. The advanced line on this game was pick'em. And all you saw, as I told you, was that there was no number the books could ask for to that I wouldn't lay on Indy last week. But all you saw was them beat the crap out of a Derek Anderson-led team. And the line moved 3 points. They were on bye. Derek Anderson, Indy shit-kicked the Bills, and the line moved 3 points. That alone, I gotta just take the Raiders on that.
I'm curious.
Even though Frank Reich might blow the doors off
Potentially,
John Gruden.
yeah, but Indy's not blowing really the doors off anyone besides Buffalo. They're not. And they're fine, but they're not a great team. Oakland can, is Indy as good as the Browns?
No, well, at least their talent isn't, but that quarterback is special.
I agree. Yeah, having Andrew Luck and having a good coach makes up for a lot. But, I don't know, a 3-point dog at home. I'm curious to see where the money's coming in on this game. Because if the money is piling on Indy, this could get up to 3.5, and I really like that. But anyway, Tim, who are you taking? The coin likes... Got to be able to flip it here without dropping it. There we go. Coin likes Indy.
I like the Raiders. I think I'm picking them every week, but what can I say?
You have. You've called this the year of Oakland.
I just like the Raiders coming off a bye at home with that infield dirt gone, real grassy, and Colts going outside on a long trip. I don't know. Just seems like a spot where, sort of like that Browns-Raiders game, that if the Raiders can just stick in at the crowd, will sort of will them maybe to victory to somewhat. I think they show up. I think they show some pride. They lost Cooper, but I think that they have enough to put together a win here. I could be wrong, but I like it.
I also think the books are on a litmus test here as to
Would the Chargers take a first for Keenan Allen?
They couldn't.
Are you sure?
They could win the Super Bowl.
No, they got it. No, we have a Phillip Rivers window. No,
Yeah, you can't.
No, because
when you're the
Terrell
Chargers, you
Williams
can't-
is a UFA. So unless you
Yeah.
no.
When you're
William,
the Chargers, you can't
Keenan
think of a-
Allen is on a very team-friendly extension that he signed a couple years ago. So
how many years are left in it?
2, I believe, after this
I
one.
thought he was done after this year.
He's not a free agent.
Okay, I thought he was a free agent.
And I would say this. He is so respected by coordinators. A lot of those T. Williams bomb touchdowns, you see the safeties converging on Keenan running like a 9-yard route. And that's why Williams is going over the top.
Round to Oakland and Indy for the coin.
Yeah, I wanted to say one more thing about this game, but I don't know. Probably doesn't.
And Oakland's going to
matter.
unleash my main man, Rocket Richard, in this game. And that makes me very excited.
Oakland, the books are on a litmus test because I think people hate the narrative is that they're stay away from them like the plague, and you could be right. You could see a 3.5, but there's blind spread value on Oakland this week. There's no doubt about that in my opinion.
For sure.
Green Bay at the Rams. I have one problem because the first thing I saw when I saw this number, it's 9.5 at home for the Rams. 56.5 is the over-under. That's a lot of points for Aaron Rodgers, the biggest underdog he's ever been in a game in his career. Then I started talking to people. Then I just started looking around the internet and seeing what people are saying in this game. I have yet to see anyone who thinks that 9.5 Rams is the play. Everyone's on Green Bay. Every single person.
I've already paid the extra 10 cents and bet it and bought it to 10.
I love the Packers.
Everyone is on the Packers.
Packers are a part of the free money teaser.
That should terrify you.
You're going to give me Aaron Rodgers and you're going to give me 16 points? Like, come on.
Here's the thing. As dominant as the Rams have been, Pat, I don't think they're ATS darlings, and we've seen it a few times this year.
Nope.
Where have they stumbled up in terms of ATS? They stumbled up against the Seahawks, who have a top 10 defense.
So you're going to say on the road? Is that where you're pointing at?
And Denver, who has a pretty good defense.
I know. The Packer defense could be in real trouble here. But
bad. They're a bad defense. Who are they stopping?
I still think at the 9.5, I'm taking the Packers.
Yeah, it's a matter of pure principle. I am taking Aaron Rodgers getting over a touchdown with points. They never happen again in our lifetime that you'll get this points in the game. We're taking them here.
I almost want to make it my super lock, but we'll see.
Me too. It's in very strong
I no longer want to make it my super lock.
Everyone, their cousins, the mailman, the dog, they've all bet in the Packers this week. They all love that 9.5.
They should.
The number's not moving. And the money's coming in on the Packers.
Listen, I get sure could get away, but
listen, I understand why everyone is on the Packers. I get it. It makes a lot of sense. I'm going to take the Rams instead.
Also, don't they the Rams, this could be a huge look ahead for the biggest game, the first place in the NFC's on the line the week after. They play New Orleans, and then they play Kansas City.
I think they're kind of like the Patriots. I think they're so well coached, they don't have look ahead games.
I think they are a very well coached team. But
I get Aaron
Rodgers.
But this is a big statement for them too. The Rams going to kick the shit out of Aaron Rodgers.
I see it the other way around. I think the Patriots also enter scheduling hell, or the Packers are about to enter scheduling hell.
No, it's the Saints who enter scheduling hell.
Both are. The Packers have this game, then the Patriots next week.
Coin likes the Rams. I think if you're going to play this game, that you don't take the plus 9.5, you bet the money line on Green Bay.
I don't think so. I think the Rams are going to win the game.
Because I would say 37-34 if we're playing the old game we did the first month.
But if that's the case, the Packers can win that game.
Pardon?
If you think it's going to be 37-34, the Packers can win a 37-34 game.
Okay, but
if you think it's going to be that close, Paul, put up the thing again. What's the money line? Money line 350. So if you think it's going to be a 3-point game, why wouldn't you take the plus 350?
Because it could be they lose by 3, but they never at a moment you felt like they were actually going to win the game.
And then make it free money.
I mean, you're 0-7 on free money. Just to get your money back on the air with your quote-unquote free money, you'd have to win 3 of these in a row.
I think we're going to be on a pretty good streak here.
He hasn't won any teaser.
No. That's because he does crazy things like make 5-game teasers instead of doing very sensible things like 3-game teasers.
Yeah, or even 2. Yeah.
All right, so me and the coin are on the Rams. You two are on Green Bay. San Francisco at Arizona. Consider this one for Superlock.
Me too.
I love Arizona here.
Love it.
No.
They should be favored by way more than a point.
Salivating.
I'm already out of your mind.
I'm already in on this game.
I'm already in too.
Oh, it's like you guys didn't watch Thursday night when you said
Thank you.
That's the point.
Thank you. You and everybody else. And because all you have this memory, this San Francisco team is the Jimmy Garoppolo list 49ers that are probably like 2-30, like in the time frame without Jimmy Garoppolo. They're bad. They played a close game on Monday night that then reminded people that they're decent. They are not.
We also just saw this game 2 weeks ago in San Francisco, and Arizona put the beat down on them.
Arizona with the extra time and at home after them getting beat down. Tim, you've watched this thing way too much.
My theory, right?
No, you play into our theory
about the divisional games here. That a team will play close in one, and they'll not play close in another.
But your whole point was that it doesn't. It was that one of the teams is really good and one of the teams is really bad. These are two bad teams.
Your point, the first words out of your mouth is why this is my super lock. We saw
it. They did not win last week.
It was like after Washington got their asses whipped by New Orleans, and then there was like a pick 'em at home versus Carolina, and you said the same freaking thing that you just entered this game. It's the exact same statement. No, wrong. With the new play calling, with the extra sort of oomph.
Yeah, and listen, I don't know how good of an OC Byron Leftwich is, but he
better.
Can't be worse than Ellen.
He can't. You know, I love this game, and if you want to make it super lock, we should get together again because we're both together.
We made magic last week with the super lock on Carolina.
I really do like this game.
I don't even know if Rosen's playing or not. I don't care. Have secret bald Mike Glennon in the game. Go for it. The pass rush for Arizona will disrupt guilty beat hard enough that he's not doing anything.
The game was also so lopsided. There were two defensive scores. Arizona was pathetic. I get it, but it was so pathetic that it sets up this situation. They're a field goal favorite to me in this game if they lose last week in a normal football game.
Yeah, what if they beat Denver by 3? They're what, 7-point favorites?
They are scorched earth because everybody bet on them Thursday and they lost everyone their money. They didn't even let people enjoy a Thursday night football game. You just changed it to the baseball after 8 minutes because it was over. But oh my God, what a spot. My play of the month.
I love Arizona too. So Tim, give us the case for San Francisco. Besides the fact that they had played each other earlier this year, which would lead towards Carolina or lead towards Arizona.
It's just a pure play against a trash Cardinals team. That's all.
But you don't.
You play a decent game against the Packers.
Where do the Niners have the talent advantage here? Please tell me what positions.
Tight end.
Sure.
For sure. I like Beathard. I think he's been fine. Beathard versus whoever Arizona rolls out there, I would say Beathard is probably the better option. Listen, their defense has still got players on it that are
that is a very good point. They are rostering players.
Do you know how bad?
Like this team hung with the Chargers and they hung with the Packers.
Yeah, Packers are bad.
They hung with the Packers and Chargers without Garoppolo. They lost by 10 to the Cardinals. Then they just get beaten soundly by the Rams. I don't know. I just look at the team and the schedule, and I say they're pretty even. But I think the Niners are a touch better. I'm not as strong as you guys are on this. I just think the Niners are the slightly better team, so I'm going to pick them.
Bad teams, which Arizona is. I'll own that. There's two bad teams versus a bad team game, which you can kind of get. Sometimes you want to stay away from, but bad teams are so screwed on Thursday night. That's what I've discovered. But they rebound okay. The Giants played a very competitive game in Atlanta after everyone saw them look beyond horrible to the Eagles. I don't know. Arizona wins this game. They'll win it by a touchdown.
And the greatest part about all this, to put a bow on this game, Arizona, San Francisco, it doesn't matter who you bet on. If you lose your bet, you can just complain to the book that it never happened because no one watched it. Nothing. Just no selling me here. All right. That will be a temporary pause in the filming right now because we need to get to a CUST Corner.
CUST Corner, it's CUST Corner. CUST Corner, it's CUST Corner. He's got the hottest takes with the highest stakes. He should be president of the United States, but it's CUST Corner, it's CUST Corner. CUST Corner,
So Tim, what do you got for us?
So Halloween has become a important part of this show and the sort of connections that this show has made with the fans. Last year I put out a definitive listing the best Halloween candy, and I would say of all the lists I put out, that had the best in terms of like SEO value response of any of
you still don't quite understand SEO value, do you? Besides having Googled what it actually means, like SEO, you have no idea what it is, do you?
It had search engine optimization.
Then why would you think that your tweet would do well with this?
I don't know, but it definitely, I think it had the best response rate of any tweet I had. So
it did. You did get pretty ratio. That's true.
Oh well, whatever. But I figured since this is the last show before Halloween that we're recording, that I would come up with another Halloween themed list, and it would be the best Halloween themed movies. Now,
hold on. I want to go back to the Halloween candy list in case people missed it. The show is bigger than it was 1 year ago. So, Tim, your definitive rankings, if you would like to update them, of the best candies at Halloween. Coming in, Geoff, at number 1, candy corn. Number 2, that pumpkin-shaped candy that's a marshmallow that people use as doorstops. Also commonly seen as peanuts other time of the year that are
amazing.
Okay. Peeps, number 2, or number 3, which are not a Halloween candy, just a candy.
But they are when they're jack-o'-lantern shaped.
Molasses Kiss is number 4.
Those are sometimes called a Halloween kiss or a witch's kiss. Those things are I had one today after my coffee. I bought some. They're on sale. The fact they were on sale before Halloween was actually kind of disconcerting. But anyway, I bought them. I had them. They're fantastic and good for you.
Good for you, are they?
Yeah, it's just molasses. It's like not refined sugar in the same way that.
Yeah, I'm gonna launch an investigation on the health benefits of molasses kisses after this. Cookies and cream, and then everyone's favorite on your best candy list, Tim, raisins.
Yeah, I mean, I was in the grocery store last week and saw the bags of the Sun-Maid raisins in the red boxes, and I thought that's the surest sign that Halloween has arrived, because people are buying their raisins to give out as gifts. For trick-or-treaters. Look, they're great. They're healthy. They're delicious. They don't weigh down your bag as much as other things do, so there's a great ratio of deliciousness to weight when you're carrying around your trick-or-treat bag. They're a great treat. The gloss sets
what
with the
weighs down the bag?
But people used to give out the cans of pop. Do you like the pop? But it weighed the bag down
What
too much.
psychopath gave out cans of pop?
It happens. It happens.
Or mini sips. Again, they just weigh down the bag too much.
Yeah, you don't want liquids. You don't want to be getting liquids. But now you're saying like Glossette raisins and stuff like that. That's not what your point was. Your point was that to get like the Sun-Kissed little red box of raisins.
Glossette ones are not as good.
What?
You don't want them.
You don't think the chocolate-covered raisins are better than the actual raisins?
My goodness.
If raisins can compare up to Halloween candy, why aren't you just eating raisins a year long? Which you don't.
I do.
No, you don't.
I like to mix them into my plain yogurt.
Such a fucking lie.
I do. I like to mix a handful into my plain yogurt.
Oh, did you know that Tim is eating millennial Icelandic yogurt these days?
I don't know what makes it millennial. It's been around for a long time.
Yeah, millennials love it, though. Millennials and hipsters both love plain, untasty yogurt.
I don't just buy the plain one, but yes, I have been buying the plain one. It's great. I like to put a handful of raisins in the bowl. It's delicious.
Jeff, when you wake up in the morning, do you say to yourself, after you get your daughter off, did she go to school yet? She goes to school?
Whatever. I guess, what would you even call?
Like preschool? That kind of thing?
Maybe before that.
You get your daughter off to preschool, and you're thinking, what should I do with my morning? And you're like, you know what I'll do? I'll have some thick Icelandic yogurt, plain, dump in some raisins, and I'm off to a good...
so good.
I'm kicking off the day.
It's delicious.
He also puts lard into it as well.
I do not.
So
the Icelandic yogurt's really good. Yeah, raisins are great. They're a great Halloween treat. I would encourage you to buy them and give them out at Halloween.
Things Tim doesn't like: Sour Patch Kids, little packs of Sour Patch Kids.
Who
doesn't love Sour Patch Kids?
I don't like sour.
Yeah, he hates like sour keys.
Oh, you know what he wouldn't have loved? Warheads. Remember Warheads?
I didn't like Warheads. No.
Too sour for you?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't like Rockets or those candy necklaces.
Rockets aren't even sour. Rockets are just no. Rockets are not at all.
He's talking about sweet tarts.
Those are
sweet tarts are different. Rockets
are also delicious.
I believe they call them something else in America. I believe they call them Smarties in America. Smarties are something different in Canada, but what we call Rockets.
Rockets are gross, though.
Yeah, here Smarties are
good,
better.
But they're not sour.
Yeah, here Smarties are a better version of M&Ms.
No, that is not true. Would you go that far, Geoff?
What do I like better, Smarties or
M&Ms?
M&Ms? I think M&Ms.
M&Ms are way better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fake.
I'll hit up the store the day after.
I would
Halloween.
rather get a regular.
November 1st is a great day.
I would rather get a regular bag of chips, non-branded chips, than half the shit on Tim's candy list.
Agreed.
That's because you have bad taste in Halloween candy.
No.
I
mean, from the response that you got from this last year, Tim, you said it's been a big response for you when you put this out. How many people do you think agreed with you on this list? 0%?
Yeah, it wasn't 0. I have a built-in 4% support for no matter what.
No, those how many bot accounts is your
Yeah, so
built-in
you have
support?
37 burner accounts, so take those votes out of the equation.
Then you're down 1.5.
I would say it was 85-15 negative.
His problem is his basis for this list is he gets confidence probably from the old people he goes on mall walks with.
Yeah.
They
These are the things that I like.
They pump his tires.
Tim is the kind of person, when he moves out of his millennial loft that overlooks a lake, which he rails against constantly, yet lives the lifestyle of a hipster millennial, that at least what he claims to be a millennial, which probably isn't true. Either way, when he gets his own house and starts giving out candy, and kids start coming by, his windows are going to be broken, eggs everywhere. You will have the house that gets toilet papered. You know that,
No,
right?
I won't give out the stuff. But the stuff I like the best to keep for me, that's the good stuff. They can have the overrated, the Coffee Crisp bars and the Mars bars and those Snickers and the O. Henrys. They can have that stuff if they like them with the little bags of cheesies. Have at it. I'm keeping the candy corn and the little pumpkins and the Peeps and the raisins for me.
Well, I mean, that would completely flip the entire scenario. It sounds like a great house to go to, giving it all away the best candy.
Yeah, and again, Kit Kats are great, but don't break your Kit Kats in half, people. Be civilized. Take a bite out of the corn.
So what was this list you came up with this time?
So, top 10 Halloween-themed movies. A lot of people say Christmas has got the best movie. We did a whole show a couple of years ago on Christmas movies, blah, blah, blah.
And we came what did we come to the conclusion that Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is the best Christmas movie?
That was your opinion.
Which it is.
Controversial one.
It's not even controversial. That's indisputable.
So I think Halloween movies are as good as Christmas movies, if not slightly better. I don't think they get the credit. But I will say, I think most of the series, for example, Halloween, I don't like pretty much any of them. Or Saw, I don't like pretty much any of them.
Do they scare you too much?
So none of them are making my list.
What? Your number one's going to be fucking Ernest Scared Stupid, isn't it?
Oh, God. See, now you've ruined it. I was going to start at the worst and get to the best, and now you've just given it away. So now I'll go from top to bottom.
You're the most predictable person in the world.
So yes,
check out these shows.
Number one is Ernest Scared Stupid. It is the most terrifying movie I have ever seen. The first time I saw it, I was legit frightened.
What are you more terrified of?
Oh, God.
Are you more terrified of Ernest Scared Stupid or peacocks?
I am more afraid of peacocks. But the first time, and I bet didn't you say you felt the same way when we talked about this once, that the first time you saw Ernest Scared Stupid was a terrifying experience?
Yes. Oh, no. Listen, I absolutely agree with you. Those little troll things in Ernest Scared Stupid scared the living shit out of me. Also, I was 6.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's part of the Halloween genre. Like when you were a young kid, what were the movies that scared you? So anyway, number one, Ernest Scared Stupid. Number two, The Exorcist, classic.
You put Ernest Scared Stupid over The Exorcist.
Yes, I did, in terms of what I think are the best Halloween movies. Number three, Donnie Darko. I think that is a very underrated. I think the movie people don't talk about much anymore. But I think
do you know why people don't talk about it? Because Donnie Darko, secret terrible movie.
Well, maybe, but I think this Halloween, maybe you should pop that in the...
No, I'm never watching Donnie Darko again. You know who loves Donnie Darko? Moron stoners.
You know what? It's not a bad movie.
No, it's a bad movie.
Number four, Blair Witch Project. Very, very... a movie that a lot of people panned when it came out because it wasn't scary, blah, blah, blah. Upon rewatch, it's better than most people think it was. I have it at number 4. Number 5, Rocky Horror Picture Show. It's a classic. You can't go wrong with it. I mean, it just is a Halloween movie par excellence. Number 6, Scream, the original Scream. It's just about the perfect scary movie. But Scream isn't scary. It's a parody of horror movies. Yeah, but in and of itself, it becomes a horror movie. It becomes scary. Yeah, you're right.
I like Scream, but it's saying like what you're essentially doing outside of The Exorcist, which is legitimately scary. None of these are scary movies. Like Ernest,
Well-
Ernest Scared Stupid isn't scary. It's scary to children.
Okay, I still think it's a terrifying movie.
You're also scared of fucking peacocks. You're a
Blair Witch
nutcase.
Project's a terrifying movie.
It's not though. It was at the time when it came out,
Okay.
like 1998. When
Yeah,
I was
something like that.
when I was
1998.
12, I was super freaked out by Blair Witch Project.
I still think it's scary. Number 7, the Amityville Horror, but the Michael Bay version. That's the good version,
Michael,
not the other one. I feel very strongly. Michael Bay is a very underrated director. He does a great job.
Oh my god.
He is. Number 8. Let's see, it's getting dark.
Are
Number
you
8.
going to do a Transformers movie ranking at some point?
Number 8 is Carrie, but that's the Ryan De Palma, the original version of Carrie. Not Stephen King's best story or book, of course, but one of the very best and one of the most terrifying. Number 9, the Johnny Depp version of Sleepy Hollow, a classic.
That's
I
a
think
bad
it's
movie.
You know what? It's pretty good.
No,
Number
it's not. You can't just pass it off these shitty movies as, they're pretty good. They're not.
I like it.
They're
Number
bad.
10. Number 10, Rosemary's Baby, a classic.
Shouldn't
horror.
Rosemary's Baby be inside the top 3 in this?
No, I think it's a classic horror film, but I'm not putting it above these. But DFL, and I feel very strongly about this, is The Nightmare Before Christmas. That movie is trash. It should never have been made. It is not enjoyable. I despise that flick. I will never watch it again. It doesn't even know if it's a Christmas movie or a Halloween movie, which in and of itself is enough reason to throw it out. It's a bad movie. But anyway, that's soup to nuts, the definitive ranking of Halloween movies.
I can't believe you had Donnie Darko at number 4 on this list, and Nightmare Before Christmas is dead last.
That's a terrible movie.
It's not a terrible movie. It's fine.
No, it is.
I don't like it as much as others, but it's a fine movie. This list is just horrible. It's not even worth discussing.
It's a pretty good list.
Yeah, it's really bad.
I have no opinion.
Can you tweet out this list?
I will write it up, yes.
Yeah, you should do it like right now. By the end of the show, we can see the negative reaction you get to it.
Okay.
So
Go ahead.
you work on that. We'll move on to the rest of the games. That, friends, was Cuss Corner.
Cuss Corner, it's Cuss Corner. Cuss Corner, it's Cuss Corner. He's got the hottest takes with the highest stakes. He should be president of the United States, but it's Cuss Corner, it's Cuss Corner. Cuss Corner,
New Orleans at Minnesota, the Sunday night game. -1 Minnesota. Everson Griffin's going to be back next week. Not for this game, though. Eli Apple, now a member of the New Orleans Saints. Delvin Cook won't be back till after the Week 11 bye. Everything's kind of rolling for New Orleans right now, but 2 back-to-back, should they have won last week? They could have lost last week. Minnesota looked pretty good, riding high after coming and beating the crappy Jets. I don't know. I really don't know what to make of this game, because you could sell me either way. And you can sell me by either team by kind of a lot either. But I guess you're saying people are talking about New Orleans being better than Kansas City? That seems nuts. Doesn't it? Where are you thinking here?
I'm quite torn on this game. I'll say this. Breeze is playing sort of unconscious. The Vikings quietly kind of right where they need to be. They sort of entered the season. The summer talk was, with the free agent signing that they should be like a Super Bowl favorite, maybe.
I don't think that they're not, though. I think they're one of the better teams in the league.
No, I agree. But, the national media is so hyper-focused on Rams and Saints, at least in the NFC at the moment. And they're kind of doing a nice little job, not playing great, but getting wins. I buy into the revenge game factor a little. Give me New Orleans. I have zero confidence in this game. I'll probably be watching baseball. And a side note here,
I might watch The Nightmare Before Christmas.
we're all old enough to remember when the MLB did not play a game on this Sunday night against the World Series. That there was some truce. But ever since, a few years ago, there was bad blood, which I can trace back to C-League made some comments. He was pissed that the NFL did some stuff. And then ever since then, the NFL not only has played games in this spot, but every year, I think maybe 5-6 years ago they started, they put out pretty premier games in
Good.
it.
Stick it to baseball.
Yeah.
Fuck baseball.
I don't know, for what that's worth. I do like New Orleans. I'm having a hard time really picking this game.
The coin likes Minnesota. Are the Rams and Saints comparable, do you think?
I think the Rams are better, even though the Saints were my pick to win the NFC at the beginning of the year.
I can see this Vikings-Saints game being a lot like that Rams-Vikings game from earlier this season, where the Rams just had too much going on by the end that they just outlasted Minnesota. And I don't know if New Orleans can continue to keep going there. And their defense is significantly worse. Not the Rams' defense is good, but I don't think the Eli Apple cures all maladies with this defense.
No, but their defense is actually playing very well.
Their run defense is playing okay. They have like the worst pass defense in the league.
Well, they'll probably continue to address it, because if there's a team that's all in the NFL, it's the New Orleans Saints.
I like Minnesota very slightly. It's just a complete...
Paul is tweeting peacocks at me. Jeez. Sorry about that.
Everyone, yeah, Paul is right. Everyone should be tweeting pictures of people out there. Tweet as many pictures of peacocks to Tim as possible. He would love for you to do that.
Please don't do that.
Please do it. So I'm on Minnesota. The coin's on Minnesota. Jeff is on New Orleans. I don't know how convicted the coin is on his opinion or her opinion. I don't know. How about you? Do you have a strong stance? I know you hate Minnesota.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Saints in this spot. Enough that we're going to use the teaser to tease them. I had this game at pick, so I teased them to 7, but if it's +1, then we get to tease them to 8. Just because I don't think that, even if the Vikings win, I don't think they win big. I think if they pull it, it'll be a close grab. I think actually this game will be a lot like, in terms of the style of game we saw in the playoffs, a game that's played in the mid to high 20s, but neither team can pull away from the other. Two teams that have some skills, but they can cancel off each other's strengths in some ways. Just I'm looking at the way that the Vikings are sustaining their offense, and I think it's unsustainable. I don't think that Thielen can continue with this catch rate. I don't think that Cousins can continue not to turn the ball over as much. And he's protected the ball better than I would have thought. He's getting so many passes deflected at the line. A team like the Saints should be able to take advantage of it. The Saints just have better players. And here's the key. When Drew Brees gets to play a road game indoors, that's like playing an extra home game for him. It's such a benefit for him to get to play indoors on the road. So I just think the spot is lining up for the Saints, who was my NFC Championship game opponent with the Rams, I should add. Looking pretty good with my picks this year. I think the Saints are the play in this game.
Speaking of picks, do you remember, Geoff, what Tim picked for this playoff game last year? Do you recall?
I remember he almost had the exact score.
Oh, no, he did have the exact score until something happened. And what did he do? Brag about his score before the game was over.
Yeah. I remember getting DMs from Tim looking for air in his tires for how well he had capped the game perfectly.
And then lost all of his money. Monday Nighter. Oh boy, this is going to be a fun one.
This sucks.
Yeah, New England at Buffalo.
But it doesn't suck because the Bills play great Monday night games.
That's true. They do always play some sort of insane Monday night game.
just worry this
14 is the line. It's got to be too many points,
the
right?
Dolphins beat the Patriots last year at home on Monday night with the shitty Jay Cutler team.
That team is way better than this Bills team.
Yeah, this Derek Anderson team, what a disaster for Buffalo. I kind of feel bad for them because a lot of things have just sort of worked against them.
Are they better or worse in this spot with Derek Anderson or Josh Allen, though?
They'd be better with Allen.
I'd rather Allen. I really would. I was worried last week that they didn't have the reps, Anderson and these receivers.
And Kelvin Benjamin wouldn't even practice. Didn't want to run any routes.
It's a lot of points, but if you're going to ask me to pick it, Patriots big. Gronk scores like 2.5 times.
I'm going to take Buffalo in the points. 14-point home dog. This
number on Monday night.
And this number's going up too. Like it opened at 16.5. It probably gets back up to 16.5.
You know what? Give me Buffalo. It's Monday. It's at home.
It's craziness.
It's like they're going to be their Super Bowl. The Patriots literally have nothing to play for till January.
That isn't true, but anyway.
Why? Why isn't it true?
Well, they definitely need to have home field advantage in the playoffs. I don't think they can go into KC and win, but I think they can certainly beat KC at home. So, like, every win is valuable.
The Chargers, one of the Ravens and the Chargers are going to ruin this rematch. I'm telling you that right now.
Oh, and it could be against either of the teams.
Yeah.
I think the Patriots need to be at home as long as possible in the playoffs. That's all.
So who are you taking here? The coin likes New England.
I will take the Patriots. I don't love it, but I will, because I just think that, like you guys say, that this game could be played tight-ish because it's a ton of points on the road, but it's enough to make the Patriots to be safe. I'll make them the last end of the 5-team tease. We'll tease them down to -7. We have a little bit of safety numbers there, so that's the way I'm playing it.
I hate the pick though.
Yeah, I don't love it either.
I don't
love the New England pick. It's not a game I'll be on.
My account would have to be overflowing for me to actually sit down Monday and take the 14.5 or whatever it might be.
The biggest bet I've made this year was taking San Fran at Green Bay. I won a bunch of money on that game. And that was the stinkiest line in the world. Just no one wanted a piece of it. Like, how many people do you think are lining up to bet Buffalo +14?
About as many people lining up to bet the Giants +1.
Is McCoy going to play?
I don't know. But I honest to God think that I'm going to look at the money on Saturday night.
No, you're wrong, because
the Giants are still the Giants.
There's still, like, people want to bet, like, because of Barkley and Odell, it's easier to convince yourself that they can backdoor or do something.
Or win at home.
If they got, like, such a big number. If it gets over the number, if it gets ugly, like, I'm not confident that with the Patriots just trying to kill clock, that Derek Anderson can get us the back door. It's kind of going to need to just be like within 10 points.
Yeah. You hope it's like 24-14.
You hope one of those games, Gostkowski's kicked like 5 of them.
Yeah, he misses 2.
I don't know. It sucks. I don't know. Beginning of the year, Buffalo and their fans, they deserve this Monday nighter. I guess should have been.
I'm sick of people saying Buffalo fans deserve stuff. They don't deserve anything. They're terrible fans. Paul is one. We were watching them at the bar last week, cheering the field goal to break the 28-0 tie, or being pumped that they kicked the field goal without 28 points.
Wasn't like a Bronx cheer though.
No, like they were legitimately fired up that the Bills kicked a field goal.
I was embarrassed. Wow.
Paul was embarrassed, as he should have been.
I don't know.
Pathetic.
They flexed the Chargers Ravens game into prime time.
That's a good game.
Yeah.
What week is that? Is that next week?
No, it's like into December, but it's when they're
allowed
it's a
week that Seattle was hosting.
They're allowed to play Saturdays, but they didn't allocate either of the Saturday games.
Oh. All right. Yeah. Let's recap here. Superlocks for the week, since I am in first and Tim is in last. Tim, the floor is yours.
I think Geoff and I have the same record. But anyway, I'm going to...
Tiebreaker is the other record.
All right, fine. I'm going to go with the team that can't stop covering games, which is the Chiefs -10.
Chiefs -10. Jeffrey?
Credit, we all hit ours last week, and we all took dogs that won outright.
Yeah.
Coincidentally enough. I'm going to go with Arizona. I'm pretty confident. I was tempted to make it Green Bay, But now Tim has scared you off. Well, on both fronts, because Tim was super confident in Green Bay and hates the Arizona pick. But you've kind of pointed out that you're just seeing everyone and their mother on Green Bay. So that's kind of scaring me a little. Well, I think everyone's going to think, or the majority of people look at this game like Tim looks at it, and they just remember Arizona looking horrible on Thursday night, like all bad teams usually do. Arizona, I'm quite confident.
I'm with you too. I'm taking Arizona. To me, this came down to Arizona or Washington against the Giants. That game scares me more just because it seems off in terms of the line. But this Washington Giants game reminds me a lot of the Detroit-Miami game last week. Like, I love Detroit in that game. It seems stupid that they were 2.5-point favorites on the road against Miami. They're a way better team than Miami. Like, Washington's not great, but they're way better than the Giants. At least in my opinion.
Yeah, the Giants, again, their roster's going to be gutted.
Tim.
Yes.
Your free money. Let's see if you can get yourself to 0-8 on your free money teaser. Let's hear it.
All right. At plus 325, so we can get back some of the farms we've been losing. We're going to tease up at 7 points the New Orleans Saints, the Green Bay Packers, the Chicago Bears, the Kansas City Chiefs, and the New England Patriots.
We correctly called which team would ruin it for him last week. 2 weeks in a row, we've actually called which team ruins it for him. It was Oakland in London 2 weeks ago who blew it. It was the Jets who blew it for him last week. Now he's picking against the Jets? Oh, he's trying to curse the Jets into a win here? Who do you think it's going to be?
Chicago will blow it for him against his own Jets. It's actually...
I think it's Green Bay.
There's a poor soul...
Rams by 40.
There's a poor soul out there that is going to have a pretty shitty Christmas because of Tim.
Yeah, hopefully. I think people know not to tail Tim's teaser picks. They have not been good. Ever. It's not like he had a run and he was awesome. It was just never working out.
I went on a run last year of like 4 wins in 5 weeks or something.
Yeah, and you almost got back to even with four of the wins in a row. You still ended up like down a bunch.
Yeah. Listen, we're getting on a streak here this week.
You better. Or like people are going to be legit homeless. Anyway, that'll do it on the Pat Mayo Experience. Jeffrey Fienberg, thank you for being here.
Always.
You said you're not going to be here next week?
No, I'm here.
Oh, you are here?
I'm away on the weekend.
Oh, okay. But you'll be here for the show.
Yes, of course.
All right. I would also like to thank for being on the line today. Tim and August.
Tim and August.
That's not my name. That's a little more theatrical than usual.
Listen, everyone knows how much I do enjoy being on the camera and acting.
Acting!
I like that all your voices sound the same. You have no real pitch in your voice. Remember to tune in to the Sunday morning show. Tim will be back. Monday morning, I'll be here with Meanie, breaking everything down. Always give the episodes the like. And this week, and you can't say peacock for your answer, but just send your pictures of peacocks to Tim.
Oh, please don't do that.
But give the episode a like. Leave your DK handle in the comment section and tell me what you think Tim should be for Halloween. The winners will be announced on Monday. You can find the cheat sheet in the description or on my Facebook page. Remember to sub and download and review the audio podcast. Even if you watch the video version, go do that anyway. Helps a bunch. I'm Pat Mayo. Good luck in Week 8. I'll see you next time.
Early returns are not positive on the...
Really? Well, I want to read some of these. Let's see this.
Yeah, there's a few so far. One is Donnie Darko is not a Halloween movie. That is.
It's not.
Another one wanted to know where Hocus Pocus was. I don't like that movie.
There's no. Paul points out there's no gaps in your list.
You know what? I don't think that there deserves to be a defendant. Gaps don't always exist. They only exist when they need to exist.
But is this a list of Halloween movies or scary
Halloween
movies?
themed movies.
Halloween themed movie. This guy releases one, and in DFL is just Tim's list. That's good. That's good.
He has Kubrick's Shining. Like, I love The Shining, but Carrie is a better Halloween movie than The Shining.
Oh, this guy's talking about snubs. Like, your list is truly bad. This might be one of your worst lists.
That's a good
No,
list.
the Halloween candy.
The Halloween candy is probably the worst list, but this one's bad.
The guy Are You Serious actually sent him a much better list.
Yeah, this guy has Halloween, The Exorcist, Nightmare on Elm Street, Scream, The Conjuring. The Conjuring's actually quite good and terrifying. You've never seen it. Blair Witch, Rosemary's Baby, The Omen, Monster Squad. I don't know what that is. The Shining. I mean, you could tell me that The Shining is just a scary movie, not a Halloween movie.
Yeah. Now, The Shining is the best Simpsons short Halloween episode. I'll give him that.
That list is significantly better than Tim's list.
You're on Seamus
it
Power?
isn't.
Yeah, I'm betting Seamus Power. Why? The brother
I'm
Seamus.
looking at your tweet.
No, I kind of like my list. I'm actually pretty proud of it. I spent some real time on it.
You spent time on this?
Oh, yeah.
This
This
sounds like a list that someone just smashing their head against a brick wall would come up with.
No, I thought this through. I mean, like, I had to, dissociate between the two Amityville horrors and the multiple Carries to pick the right one.
Oh.
Jeff's dislike of Michael Bay was not something I expected.
I mean, I enjoyed the early Bad Boys movie. Didn't like Bad Boys.
Does he just make shitty action movies that are?
I will defend it. I don't care.
You like the movie Pearl Harbor?
I will defend it. I'm not saying it's a great movie, but I'll say it's like a solid B-. I'll defend that movie. I think there are scenes, particularly all the stuff with FDR, is pretty darn good.
You're awful. Seek help.
Tim.
Yes.
Michael Bay has one awesome movie, and it's Pain and Gain. Which rules.
Sorry. I'm going off topic.
Yeah.
Dave Roberts is over.
Yeah, well,
I'm looking at their lineup.
Tried to do it in the NLCS.
I'm looking at the lineup tonight. And it's
just
wrong.
Don't tell them that, people, or they'll yell at you and be mean.
They're wrong. They're wrong. You should be starting Bellinger. You should start your best player against David Price. And what do you mean, man?
Yeah, David Price, who's never has had like one good playoff game in his whole career.
I just don't know how they leave these guys out of the lineup. I think they're just they're over mathing it.
I don't know why you needed to quote tweet it with that guy with his hand on his chin.
Because he's looking very suspicious that he thinks that whoever made that list could probably be in a mental institution.
And Tim, sorry, Pat, to what something you said before about the 2-point conversions. You mentioned how, and I thought it was a great point. Like a play at the 50 or 30, like Tim said, like so much easier, I think, to get the 2 yards because of the spacing.
Yeah,
in
you
the room,
spread everyone out. You send guys deep.
You send guys deeper, and you can get underneath more. But the percentage on converted, or the math that the math guys are using on how easy or hard it is to convert a 2-point conversion, is that what the conversion rate historically, or the ability to get 2 yards in the NFL?
I think it's a conversion rate historically. But also, now that you see more teams do it, that teams prepare for it more as well. So you can gear your offense to be a little bit better. I feel like teams don't run enough when they do it. It's 2 yards. Like if you're the Giants and you're running these 2-point conversions, or you just have the ball near the goal line, why spend the second overall pick on a running back to not use him in these situations? Yeah. It seems really bizarre.
Now, I get not wanting to go jumbo and running because then you've given away the game.
Also, the
Sure,
Titans...
I would never run out of jumbo. I would get as many people as possible away from the ball.
Yeah, on the goal line, I agree with you.
Specifically to the Titans, the Chargers do not cover like third and short. Like what their interior... They don't match up well against teams that don't want to like take shots, that just want to play that like 3.5, bleed the game away.
Like Tennessee.
We would not have stopped like a Lewis or Mariota run there. We don't stop those. We rarely would stop anyone in that situation.
And a big thing too is like, the Titans ended up throwing the ball, but the Titans can run out of shotgun pretty effectively. Like you can run out of shotgun near the goal line. Like, that's not the end of the world.
Like,
as long as you have guys
like
spread
third
out.
or fourth read on the play too.
Like on that play, you go 5 wide in the gun and have Mariota take the snap and then go right up the middle on a draw.
No, Mariota-san has too much honor for that.
Mariota or Prescott or Newton or Locke or Wentz.
You see, I think it's a better idea to do it with someone like Dak, someone with Cam. Mariota's just not very big in comparison to those guys. Like, especially, like even just going back to the Barkley thing. Like, Barkley can jump over all those guys. We've seen it. Just get him to launch himself at the 2 and jump over and stick the ball over. And with Lewis, like, you can't have Henry in the game because then it's a dead giveaway that you're running the ball. But with Lewis, dead giveaway. That just, stand out in shotgun, make it look like you're passing, and hand it off to Dion Lewis. He can make guys miss.
They went empty, and the Chargers, you saw it. The defense saw exactly that they weren't running, and everyone just sort of went back and covered the end zone, and they had to throw.
Somebody just tweeted, "This is the Sam Darnold of best Halloween movies." What
Does that mean you need to be put in your safe space?
It means that it must mean that the movie has the list has a ton of potential. I wonder how many followers that person has.
Oh, you should call him out. This guy, he has 90 followers. You should call him a laugh riot because he has no followers. Are we gonna have to get people to unfollow you again?
Did you hear the whole Red Sox 04 team was invited back to throw at the first pitch tonight, but Kurt Schilling?
I bet you Dave Roberts is also not going to be throwing out the first pitch.
No, he said he won't be there. He's busy, obviously.
Well, he's got analytics to run, Geoff.
Remember when we used to make fun of Girardi and his binder on the bench?
This guy says Tim Anderson doesn't know what he's talking about. That's a pretty tame response. That's like a serious response to this list.
That's like a guy that just found you 2 weeks ago.
Someone tweeted at me the other day that I should stop being so mean to my viewers or I'm going to loose my show.
It's your show.
Well, I guess you better get a grip on it.
I gotta get it tightened up.
Mayo experience! Experience!